The sun hung high over the endless plains, painting the land in golden light. Dust rose in thin clouds from the dry earth, and the wind carried the distant cries of birds and the faint rustle of grass. In a small Apache village nestled near a bend in a river, a young girl moved quietly through the narrow paths between the huts. Her dark hair shimmered in the sunlight, and her eyes, wide with fear, darted from side to side. Her heart pounded in her chest, not from running, but from the thought of what awaited her. The elders had decided. She would be married off, not to someone she knew or loved, but to a warrior from a neighboring tribe. He was older, rough, and strong, the kind of man respected by her people. But she did not care for him. The thought of being tied to someone she did not choose made her stomach twist. She had grown up learning the ways of her people, climbing rocks, riding horses, and running across the open plains. She knew her own strength, her own mind, and she refused to give them up. The girl paused behind a cluster of bushes, listening to the faint sounds of movement in the village. Her parents, though loving, had accepted the elders' decision, believing it was the right way to secure her future. She understood their logic, but her heart rebelled. Every step toward the ceremony that awaited her felt like a chain closing around her life. She had to escape, and she had to do it now. Farther along the path that led away from the village, she noticed a figure moving calmly near the riverbank. He was a cowboy, a stranger in the land of her people. His hat shaded his eyes, and his worn boots kicked up dust as he checked his horse. He moved with confidence and ease, his presence steady, like the river itself. The girl had seen him before from a distance. Always respectful, always quiet, never interfering in the life of her people. But today, he could be her only hope. She approached him cautiously, every rustle of the grass making her heart leap. "Please," she said, her voice trembling but urgent. "You must help me. They are going to make me marry someone I do not know. I cannot stay." The cowboy looked down at her, noting the fear and desperation in her eyes. He could see she was serious, that this was not a childish plea but a matter of her life and freedom. "Why would I help you?" he asked calmly, though there was no malice in his voice. "Because if you do not, I will have no choice," she replied, her hands gripping at the edge of her tunic. "They will force me, and I cannot live like that. Please, I don't ask for much. Just help me escape." Her voice broke slightly as she spoke, and the weight of her desperation hung in the air. The cowboy studied her for a moment. He had traveled through many lands, seen many struggles, but the courage in this girl's eyes struck him. She was young, yes, but determined, and she did not ask for control, only for a chance to choose her own path. Slowly, he nodded. "All right," he said. "Climb onto my horse. I'll help you get away, at least for now." Relief washed over her like a cool stream. She moved quickly, climbing onto the horse with the help of the cowboy. The horse shifted under her weight, stamping its hooves, but it was steady, calm, trained for moments of tension. She clung to the cowboy's waist, not out of fear of him, but to hold on as they prepared to ride away from everything familiar. The wind rushed past as the cowboy urged the horse forward. The village began to shrink behind them, the smoke from cooking fires and the outlines of huts fading into the distance. She looked back once, tears pricking at the corners of her eyes. She had loved her home, loved her people, but she could not surrender herself to a life she did not choose. Freedom mattered more than anything. The plains stretched endlessly before them, and the sun beat down on their backs. Every muscle in the girl's body tensed as she rode, not from fear of the journey, but from fear of being caught. She had heard the shouts already, the elders and village men realizing she was gone, beginning their pursuit. Each second that passed brought the threat closer, but the cowboy guided the horse with skill, navigating through rocks, brush, and narrow paths that twisted through the hills. She could feel his steadiness beneath her, the calm way he held the reins and urged the horse forward. It gave her courage. They did not speak much. Words were not needed. The sound of hooves pounding against the dry earth, the rush of wind through their hair, and the rapid beat of their hearts filled the space between them. She thought of the life she was leaving behind, and she felt a pang of sorrow, but she also felt a spark of hope. For the first time in days, she could imagine a future that was her own. As the hours passed, the cowboy led them through hidden paths and dry riverbeds, places where few would notice travelers. He kept glancing back, alert for anyone following, and each time he did, she felt a surge of gratitude. She realized that she trusted him, not blindly, but because he had shown respect for her wishes, for her courage. She had never known anyone like him before. The sky began to change as evening approached, the harsh gold of the sun softening into shades of orange and red. They rode in silence, the tension of the day slowly giving way to a cautious sense of safety. The girl's mind wandered to what awaited her once they found a safe place. She did not know exactly where they would go or what the future held, but she knew that the choice was hers now. She could decide her path, her life, and that thought filled her with strength. Night fell quickly in the desert lands. Stars appeared, tiny points of light in the vast, dark sky. The wind had cooled, and the horse slowed as they approached a small canyon, a natural shelter from prying eyes. The cowboy dismounted first, holding the reins out to her. She slid down carefully, legs weak from the long ride but her spirit unbroken. She looked at him, trying to find the right words to thank him, but words felt small compared to the relief she felt. "You're safe, for now," he said simply, his eyes scanning the horizon. "We'll rest here, then figure out our next move." She nodded, her voice catching. "Thank you. I don't even know your name, but I will never forget what you've done for me." He shrugged, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Names don't matter right now. What matters is that you're free to choose." They sat near the canyon, the quiet of the desert surrounding them. The girl finally allowed herself to breathe fully, the tension in her body easing just a little. She felt the cool night air on her face and listened to the distant calls of night birds and the whispering wind. For the first time that day, she felt hope. A fragile but real hope that she could survive, that she could live life on her own terms. As they prepared to rest for the night, she thought of her village, of the life she had left behind, and of the unknown path that awaited her. Fear still lingered, but courage had taken its place at the forefront of her heart. She realized that courage was not the absence of fear, but the willingness to act despite it. And tonight, with the cowboy by her side and freedom within reach, she had found that courage within herself. The night was quiet, almost too quiet. The desert stretched endlessly around them, the stars shimmering like tiny diamonds in the dark sky. The Apache girl and the cowboy sat near the shelter of the canyon, the horse grazing slowly nearby. The girl's muscles ached from the long ride, and her heart still pounded from the adrenaline. But for the first time, she felt a sense of safety. She was free for now. The cowboy had built a small fire, its orange glow flickering against the rocky walls of the canyon. He offered her some water from his canteen, which she accepted gratefully. She took a long sip, letting the cool liquid soothe her dry throat, and then looked at him with a mix of curiosity and admiration. "Why are you helping me?" she asked quietly. "You don't even know me. You could have left me there." He shrugged, poking at the fire with a stick. "I've seen people forced into lives they don't want. I know what it feels like to have no choice. I can't stand by and watch someone lose their freedom when there's a chance to help." His voice was calm, steady, and the girl found comfort in it. They sat in silence for a few moments, listening to the crackling of the fire and the distant call of an owl. Then she spoke again, her voice softer this time. "I was supposed to marry someone I didn't know. The elders, They said it was for my own good." "I understand," the cowboy said. "Sometimes, the people who care the most about us make decisions that don't fit with what we need. It doesn't make them bad. It just means they see the world differently." The girl nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I've always been strong. Or at least I thought I was. But today, I didn't know if I could run fast enough, think fast enough. And then you came." She hesitated, unsure if she should speak further. Then added, "I don't know if I could have done it without you." The cowboy gave a small, understanding smile. "You could have. You had the courage to run, to ask for help. That's bravery right there. I just made sure you had a chance." As the night deepened, they shared more of their stories. The girl spoke of her life in the village, the lessons she learned from her parents, the friends she played with as a child, the days she spent riding horses and exploring the hills. She told him about the elders, their rules, and the way they valued tradition over personal choice. The cowboy listened intently, nodding occasionally, asking questions gently, never interrupting. In return, he shared his own journey. He had traveled for years, riding across the plains, working on ranches, guiding cattle drives, and helping people when they needed it. He spoke of the people he had met, the lessons he had learned, and the importance of respecting the lives and choices of others. The girl listened, fascinated by the freedom in his stories, the way he lived without being trapped by rules that did not make sense to him. The fire dwindled, and the desert grew colder. The girl shivered slightly, and the cowboy noticed. Without a word, he offered her his coat. She hesitated, then accepted, wrapping it around herself. It smelled faintly of leather and smoke, and it brought a strange comfort. She realized that this stranger, this cowboy, had not just helped her escape, but had also shown her kindness and respect in a world that often demanded obedience over heart. Morning came slowly, painting the desert in pale shades of pink and gold. The first light revealed the rugged beauty of the land, the rocky hills, the scattered shrubs, and the endless horizon. The horse was restless, ready to move again, and the girl felt the familiar tension of uncertainty. They were not safe yet. The village would know she was gone, and someone might pursue them. The cowboy mounted his horse first, holding out his hand to help her climb. She took it without hesitation, feeling the strength in his grip. They rode quietly, moving through hidden paths and over rocky ridges. The girl felt a strange mixture of fear and excitement. Every step away from her village was a step toward freedom, but also a step into the unknown. As they traveled, they encountered natural obstacles. A shallow river blocked their path, its waters cold and swift. The cowboy guided the horse carefully, making sure the girl held on tightly. They crossed without incident, but the girl's heart raced with each splash of water. Further along, a patch of thorny bushes threatened to scratch the horse and them. The cowboy steered them around it, his skill evident in every movement. During these challenges, their bond grew stronger. The girl realized that trust was not given lightly, but earned. She trusted him because he had chosen to respect her wishes, because he had navigated the dangers with care, and because he had listened to her without judgment. She began to feel something she had never felt before. A quiet sense of partnership. A knowledge that someone could walk beside her, not in control, but in support. By midday, they reached a small, hidden valley. It was a place the cowboy knew well, a safe spot where travelers could rest without fear of discovery. They dismounted, letting the horse graze, and the girl stretched her stiff legs. She looked around, marveling at the beauty of the secluded valley, the green grass, the gentle stream, the shade of scattered trees. It felt like a haven, a small piece of the world where she could breathe freely. Sitting by the stream, the girl dipped her hands into the cool water, letting it run over her fingers. She thought about the life she had left behind the village, her family, the elders, and the warrior she was meant to marry. She did not feel anger. Not really. She felt sorrow, yes, and regret for leaving people who cared for her, but also a fierce determination to live her life on her own terms. The cowboy sat beside her, watching the water ripple over the stones. "You'll have to decide what comes next," he said, gently. "You're free. But freedom is not just running away. It's choosing where to go, what to do, and who to trust." She nodded, understanding the truth in his words. "I know. I don't have all the answers yet, but I want to find them. I want to live in a way that I choose, not just follow what others tell me." The cowboy smiled, a quiet, approving smile. "That's a good place to start. The rest will come in time." They rested in the valley, sharing simple food the cowboy had carried and water from the stream. The girl learned more about the land, the plants, and the trails. And the cowboy taught her some tricks for moving quietly and staying safe. She absorbed everything, her mind alert and her spirit growing stronger with each lesson. As the day turned to evening, they made camp near the edge of the valley. The fire crackled, and the girl sat close, feeling the warmth and safety. She realized how much she had changed in the past 2 days, how fear had been replaced by courage, confusion by clarity, and despair by hope. She had taken the first step in claiming her life, and though the road ahead was uncertain, she knew she could face it. The cowboy looked at her quietly, sensing the transformation. "You're stronger than you think," he said, "and you've already proven it. Never forget that." She smiled, a small but genuine smile. "I won't. I promise." Night fell again. Stars scattered across the sky like glittering gems. The girl lay beside the fire, thinking of her family, her village, and the choice she had made. She did not know what the future held, but she knew she had a chance to shape it herself. She had escaped a life she did not want, found someone who respected her courage, and discovered strength she didn't know she had. The cowboy kept watch, his eyes scanning the horizon, ever vigilant. He knew danger could come at any time, but he also knew that the girl was ready to face the world with bravery. Together, they had crossed rivers, evaded capture, and survived the desert's challenges. And together, they would face whatever came next not as strangers, but as allies. As sleep finally claimed them, the girl felt a quiet peace. She had chosen freedom, and for the first time, it felt real. The journey was far from over, but she knew she would walk it with courage, guided by her own heart, and strengthened by the trust she had found in another.